My name is Tom Coster, and I'm the owner of Studio Nocturne here in DeMont, Indiana. In this video, I'll be showcasing the process I use to create a custom tombstone. This project came about on August 23rd when I read a post on the Halloween Forever Facebook page run by Jade DeLibra. A woman by the name of Morgan McGuire was looking for a specific Halloween robe that she couldn't find in her area. She was willing to pay retail plus shipping to anybody that would sell it to her. Sandy Ennis answered her call and sent her the item free of charge, paid for shipping, and also sent her a spooky Halloween card and a mask. Morgan was very excited and overcome with joy regarding this, that she had to post about it, and the post made me smile. So I sent Sandy a DM and decided to pay it forward to her and offered my services to create a custom tombstone for her, free of charge, and I would also ship it for free. A half hour later, Sandy replied to my message and we began our conversation. I started off by telling her what I'm capable of. I showed her some of the pictures of some of the past tombstones I've made and just told her that she'd just need to select what it wanted to say. Did she want a spooky tombstone or a nice, peaceful, serene looking one? She liked the pictures that I sent her, which was more of a normal, serene tombstone you'd see in a cemetery. And so my design process went along that route. Sandy's excitement for this offer made me smile, and I looked forward to getting started right away on this project for her. She indicated to me that she tended to be a giver and not a receiver, and that this offer had made her year. And that, once again, made me smile and made me very happy that I contacted her. I would design, build, and paint a very special tombstone for her yard. But more than that, I wanted to somehow highlight the kind of person that Sandy is. Generous soul that gives and expects nothing in return. So without further ado, let's begin. Hi, my name is Tom, and I am the proprietor of Harvest View Cemetery here, Little Home Haunt in DeMont, Indiana. And today I'm going to be working on a custom tombstone for a member of one of the Facebook pages I belong to called Halloween Forever, that's run by Jade DeLibra. Anyway, this tombstone is being designed for Sandy Ennis. About a week ago, Sandy performed a really nice act of generosity for a fellow member of the page there. Her name was Morgan. Morgan couldn't find a certain Halloween robe she was looking for, and Sandy came through. She messaged her and she sent it to her free of charge, paid for the shipping, sent her a spooky card and a mask with it as well. And I was really moved by that gesture of generosity. And so to pay it back to Sandy, I decided to contact her and ask her if she would like me to design her a custom tombstone and send it off to her free of charge as well. Just because she inspired me. Well, she seemed pretty thrilled about it. So anyway, we're going to be starting work on that today in my very, very, very messy garage / workshop. Anyway, the stone is it's gonna be just shy of 3 feet tall, about a foot and a half wide at the base. It's gonna have an internal structure with PVC, so it will allow her to fasten it to the ground, so that the wind won't carry it away. We're gonna do all kinds of cool little things with it. I'm gonna add embellishments like an angel, some climbing vines and moss. I'll weather and water stain it. And then to top it off, I'll add a few of my Flicker Flame LED candles. Give it a nice touch. And when we're done with this project, we'll set it up in the yard at night. I'll put my fog machine out and some lighting and get a few shots of it, maybe a little bit of video, but I'll be documenting exactly what the process is that I use to create tombstones such as this. And when it's done, I'll ship it off to Sandy and hope she enjoys it. So this is going to take probably several days worth of work because it's been very, very hot here in Indiana. Heat index has risen over 100 and my garage has no cooling. I could open up the doors, but all that does is make it even hotter. Big old fat guy like me and my big old great pumpkin looking shirt here. So anyway, join me and we'll get started on this, and I'll document it every step of the way. So already I'm going to run into problems with my dimensions simply because I bought a different thickness of the extruded polystyrene than I initially thought. I thought I had grabbed a 1.5 inch. I actually grabbed, I believe, 2-inch thick. And yep, that's the 2-inch thick Formula 250. No big deal. That's just going to mean the tombstone's going to be a little bit thicker. It was going to be 3 inches thick, and now it's going to be 4. Shouldn't change much other than some cutting dimensions for when I slip the tombstone inside of its base. So let's get started.
Go.
Okay, so I got the basic shape of the tombstone cut out. It's not perfectly square, doesn't need to be, that's all right. Here, let me flip the camera for you. And you can see it's a basic shape. What's going to happen is we're going to have a little extra work up here to cut some shapes out. And then up in here will be the family name and that angel that I filmed earlier. The names and dates of birth and death, probably a saying at the bottom. This section down here is actually going to be fitting into the base that I'll be building. And you know, it's okay that these are not perfectly square and perfectly cut, simply because I'll be using a hot knife to rough it up a little bit later on. I will glue these together. I'll smooth them out with some sandpaper and you know, maybe get some wood filler in there to fill any gaps. But that's fine. The hot knife will take care of anything else, any other imperfections, simply because we want this thing to look old and weathered. And since the dates of death on here are from the early 1900s, that hot knife will really do a good job of making it look like this tombstone is nice and worn down. Okay, here's an update on the tombstone I'm making for Sandy. Let me go ahead and flip the camera around, and you'll see that the basic shape of it is complete. The main stone is sitting in the base properly. It's all been routed out. There's inner PVC in there so she could fasten it to the ground. The outer PVC is kind of like columns for it, just as a design decision. It's all got to be glued together with some Liquid Nails heavy-duty construction adhesive. I'll sand the edges because some of them are a little uneven or there's some flaws here and there. So I'll get that sanded down. I'll get some wood filler for all the joints and seams and get that all packed in there, and we'll sand that down as well, nice and smooth. Then comes some of the fun parts, the painting. I'll give it one coat of exterior latex paint, gray. And then I have to decide whether or not I'm going to use a second coat of the gray mixed with some grit, or if I use some dry lock. I'll probably use the dry lock because it'll give it a more stone look. It'll seal everything in real nice. So then after that, we'll go ahead and water and weather stain. Oh yeah, I still need to etch the tombstone with the family name. The family name is going to go right here. Above this is going to be an angel statue I've acquired. I'll embed that there and fasten it with the Liquid Nails. But the family name will go here. The husband and wife names, dates of birth and death. And at the bottom will be a nice little epitaph that I think it fits who Sandy is as a person real well. And speaking of Sandy, I think she's pleased with this. I know she's excited. She's hoping to get some pictures and videos of this soon, but I don't want to spoil the surprise for her. So we'll get this painted, weather stained, water stained. I'll get some vines, creeping vines on it. My flicker flame candles, I'll fasten a few of those. And once it's all done, I'll get it out in the yard with some of my LED lights. We'll do some washout colors, some contrast, so you can really kind of see what the tombstone's going to look at during the day and at night. I'll bring my fog machine, my fog chiller out there to get some low-laying fog for effect. I might even drag my lightning machine out there to, show you how it looks under that, just to showcase it a little bit. I'm really excited to get this to Sandy. I know she's excited. I can't wait to see what her reaction's going to be. I'm hoping that she enjoys it as much as I'm enjoying making it for her. She most definitely deserves it. So anyway, I'll end this video now, and I'll hit you again with another update as we get further along. Hey everyone, back at it in the garage, working on the tombstone build for Sandy. Let me switch the camera around here, see what we've got. So the shape of the tombstone's done, save for a little bit of routing along the edge. I'm going to use a nice little Roman OG bit on there to give it a nice little edge along the tombstone. So got the epitaph and this little statue here. I'm going to embed that into the face of the tombstone with some Liquid Nails. The epitaph was just made with a random name generator. That's how I selected the last name Hale for William and Catherine, his wife. And then just some arbitrary dates on there. Wanted it to be a little bit older, so because we're going to really age this tombstone a bit. And then I selected this epitaph at the bottom because if anyone has seen some of Sandy's acts of kindness, will know she is a giver. So I thought that this would be appropriate by St. Francis of Assisi, for it is in giving that we receive. So it just to me that just made me think of Sandy. So anyway, we'll get this all put together. We'll get it painted with a couple of coats, maybe some grit for to make it look like stone. We'll weather stain it, get our vines and moss on there, our flicker flame candles made for it. And then I gotta probably drill through the bottom of the tombstone to get the wire for the power adapter so that it can power those up. So with any luck, this will get done and shipped out next week and in Sandy's hands soon. And I hope she enjoys it. So anyway, I'm going to get back to work, and we'll see you in the next video. etching and routing are done. Swap this around, give it a quick once over. Not my absolute best work. My carpal tunnel was really kicking in hard today, and I had trouble gripping onto both the Dremel and the router, but I put the Roman OG bit on, and you see it kind of gives it that nice little edge that you see there. I need to sand this down. It's a little bumpy. I'll fill in a few little scars you see on the front with some wood filler, sand it down, but otherwise it's coming along. Okay, after giving it some thought, let me show you what I'm going to give my thoughts on here. This angel, I was looking to embed it into the tombstone here, and I realized that how it's shaped, it's going to require digging out a decent amount of the material through here, which can be a pain, and then you have to go back and fill in all the gaps and stuff. And one of my older tombstones, my Lorelei Fay one that had its own angel statue, was kind of a pain in the rear. And so I thought, well, maybe if I cut this in half down the side, it would work out in some way. But then I see how far back that the wings go down inside the statue itself, right in here and here. So if I were to cut it in half, they'd be losing the entire back of the wings itself. And if you're looking at the side here, it wouldn't look like an angel at all, just a woman holding some flowers. So I'm actually considering, I already have a cut cross here that might look nice at the top. You know, give it a little, just give it a little detail. But the other alternative would be, if I were to trace that and then etch the cross in, that too might look good. I thought about 1, 2, 3 crosses here, make it, you know, kind of the whole Holy Trinity kind of thing. But I think that looks a little too busy. So that's the dilemma I'm facing right now, to see which one of these is going to work out the best without making the tombstone too busy, too gaudy, but also not damaging this thing and having to go back and somehow try to fix it all. So I'm going to spend the next little while coming up with some other solutions maybe. Might go the cross, still might do the angel. I'm going to look through all my other boxes that have other embellishments I could add onto a tombstone. That I've got a lot more statues, cherubs, angels, stuff like that. But I think a lot of them are too big for this size tombstone. So other than that, I've got some different size crosses, but that's the smallest one that actually fits in that space. The next size up would actually be sticking over the top of the tombstone. So just some stuff I'm going to think about here. Just want it to turn out right and not be gaudy or anything. So we'll see what my solution is in the next video. Okay, I think I came up with a solution. I'm going to stick with that cross, but you see how it was a thicker cross before? I thought that would be too much sticking out of the face of that, just like the angel would be a little too much sticking out of the face of that. So I took one of those and I cut it in half with my wire cutter table, and it comes out still a little bit depth-wise and adds a bit of character without being intrusive. So I think we're going to go with this. So with that, I can now glue all this together, get it sanded. I'll probably start with trying to strip this paint and the printed ink off of the PVC so we can get a good clean surface of which to paint. Okay, here we are back at it with the tombstone we're making for sand. Flip the camera around, and you'll see that I've got areas where the seams and gaps are and any holes filled with wood filler. And we've already done this once, filled it in, sanded it down, and then any spots that we missed or that I took off too much material while sanding has been redone. So we're just waiting for the second application to dry, and I'll go ahead and I'll sand off what I need, and then we'll actually be ready for painting. And you can see the top here. Whereas we used to have about 3/16 of an inch difference between the front of the stone and the back of the stone because of the cut. I whittled that away with the hand sander, and we're able to get that down. So as soon as this dries and we clean it up, we can get back starting to paint it with the first base coat. We'll come back through with some dry lock, give it a little grit, you know, make it look like stone. We'll paint the epitaphs, and then make sure that all of our embellishments are on. We'll start with the vines. I'll add Spanish moss and regular moss. Oh, I'm sorry, before any of the embellishments, we'll probably weather stain it. We're going to make it look like it's been sitting in a cemetery for a very long time. So anyway, look forward to showing you what's up next. Okay, so our wood filler has dried and been sanded. That's the second time. And we've pretty much got all of the pock marks out that I was really concerned about. The rest that's left might add a little bit of character, but they're nothing I'm really concerned about. So what I'm going to do now is give it a primer of neutral gray paint, and we'll see where it goes from there. All right, we're going to start painting the stone with some dry lock, and dry lock is a masonry paint that includes grit, and it is weatherproof. We'll do 2 coats of that. You could do exterior latex paint if you want, with a few handfuls of sand for grit. Dry lock will do the same thing. It's just a little bit more weatherproof and takes a lot longer for it to wear down in the elements. So we'll give it 2 good coats, and after it's dry, we'll start doing some detail painting and some water and weather staining. Okay, we got 2 coats of black on the tombstone here. Covered up any pink areas that I saw, so it's actually looking really good. The grit is coming out nice along everything. You can still see a little bit of pink in on the lettering, but that's no big deal. That's all going to be painted in black. But I just wanted to make sure I got every surface covered. So this may actually get 1 more coat. Haven't decided yet. We'll see. If it needs another coat, I'll go ahead and I'll do that. But the gray is a little too light in color, which is no big deal because we're going to be water and weather staining it. And that's going to come when either this dries or I get a 3rd coat on and after that dries. So anyway, progress, progress, progress. Okay, we've started the water weather staining portion. I'd already painted the epitaph off camera. That's boring, tedious work, and no one wants to watch that. So let me flip the camera around, and you can see this is the first application of the water weather staining. Not too bad, not too bad. I'm going to let it dry and then see exactly where I want to highlight other areas. I also got the back here. Sorry about the lighting. My garage is not well lit, but it's the only time I could get out here because, of course, the last few days it's been super hot and it's been an oven in this garage. So again, not too bad. You can see it's just an absolute mess at the bottom, which is fine. I think that looks great because, you know, gravity works and everything always drops down. So we'll have the vines climbing up the side right up here. We'll have our cluster of candles down here. And yeah, I'll see you again when this is dry and decide if we need a second application. Okay, it's the morning after. While we were sleeping, what little sleep we did get, the tombstone dried real well. I come out here this morning and did just a little bit of touch up with the spritzing of the paint. It's not too bad looking at all. It'll take a little bit to dry. Once it dries, I'm positive that I'm going to be satisfied with what we've got. So I'll go ahead and I'll lock it in, and we'll do that by using this. Here, let me go through my mess here. This Ultra Cover Matte Clear Spray. And so that spray will be lightly coated once, and then I probably give it a second coat just to lock in all of the colors, all of the patterning of the water and weather staining. That way, any foul weather that this thing sits through in the middle of October will be able to resist the elements and retain its look. So anyway, that's that. I'll have more on this later after I've sealed it. We get to get started on the really fun part, which is the vines crawling up it, some moss here and there, both regular green moss and some Spanish moss. And start working, finishing up these candle clusters I've got going right here. You know, you see things like that, that'll have the flicker flame LEDs in it. So, all right, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, we're working on the flicker flames now, and you see I've got my PVC lengths here already cut. We've also ran the heat gun on them to make them more pliable so I could start making those folds and bends in the top as if the top of this tallow candle is melting. We added glue. The hot glue gun was the melted wax, and you could see that, you know, we got a little liberal on that. Then came the really fun part. We used this saddle tan here, this EcoFlow saddle tan, and we applied it with this brush. From there, just, you know, you got it into every nook and cranny in there. You want it really thick in there so it'll really highlight the melted wax and the candle itself. And then you just wipe it all off with paper towels and steadily until it's an off color, kind of like a tallow candle. And so now the next step is for us to dry. After it's done drying, we'll go ahead and start making the holes that will allow us to put our flicker flame LED candles, LEDs, sorry, messing up here. It's going to allow us to put our LEDs in there and then get them wired up to a connector that will then go to the power supply for it. And once we got all those wired and working, we'll go ahead and use the hot glue gun and glue them into place down here, the tombstone. They're going to be in that corner there. All 6 of them, and I've got it so that one's on the or there's some on the bottom and some on the top of that step. So we'll drill down probably through the bottom of the tombstone. I don't want to drill through the face of it just in case I make some kind of fatal error. It's easier to hide flaws when you go straight down through to the bottom. So we'll do that. We'll run the wire down there, run it, make a channel underneath to run it to the back to where we'll have the connector and have that be able to plug into an adapter, and it'll all light up real nice. And so we're getting close, getting real close. After these are dry and I've got those all wired, we'll start gluing on the vines and the moss and be ready to ship this thing hopefully this weekend. Okay, I think we might be done. I just completed all of the moss and vines, and the candles are wired and all of that. I was going to put some Spanish moss on it, but I think it was just a little too much. It makes it a little too busy. It's a little busy as it is right now. Let me go ahead and slip around here and Okay, I'll get close up on some of those areas. There's our flicker flame candles doing their thing. Moss here at the bottom and up near that column. Little moss over here, but all of these vines now. And we really went to the back here. This back corner has a little bit of moss, and this near the back of the candles has a lot of moss. So I don't think the back really needs anything. No one's going to be paying attention to that. They're only going to be looking at the front of it. So I'm going to turn on my shop light here and see if there's a better detail you could see with this light. So not too bad at all. Now I just got to find a box to ship it in, and I can send it off to Sandy. But I'm probably going to get it out in the yard in the dark, put some light on it. Probably my blue LED and my maybe an orange in the background and off to the side out of the camera frame, so it'll give it a little contrast, a little bit of warm to the cold. And I might run a little fog just to see what it's going to look like. So overall, I'm absolutely pleased with this. It was a great project to work on, from design to execution. I was frustrated at times, and but we pulled through it, and think it's pretty much done. So let me know what you think. So the tombstone turned out great. It's probably the best tombstone I've ever made. I'm so pleased that this is going to Sandy, and I can't wait to see what she thinks about it. I included a flash drive here that includes this video and the photos of the process. And as a final touch, I wrote the obituaries for William and Catherine Hale and a little small news story regarding the haunting of their house after their passing. This was a great build, and it was so much fun to work on. I'd like to thank my wife for putting up with my crazy Halloween shenanigans and spirit, enabling me to explore my creative side, and absolutely packing our garage with building materials, tools, projects, and other Halloween goodies. Thank you, sweetheart, for not smothering me in my sleep with a pillow. I'd also like to thank Sandy for inspiring me to put a little good out into the world. It was my absolute pleasure to make this stone for her. And a quick shout out to Morgan, who, without her post, I would never have known about Sandy's generosity, and who really inadvertently got this whole project rolling. So thank you, Morgan. Finally, not finally, shout out to my friend John, who stopped by to help me with a little bit of the wood filler pasting and smoothing out. He stopped by to just offer a hand, and I really appreciate it. And finally, a most spooky shout out to Jay DeLibra. I can't tell you how much I enjoy your videos and conversations on your page. Thank you for the constant Halloween enthusiasm and for bringing us all together and providing a place for us to share stories, ideas, our Halloween finds, our projects, and to celebrate the season all year round. Much Halloween love to you, my Samhain sister. Thank you all for watching.